Ambassador Chen Wei fought the urge to roll her eyes as another patronizing smile crept across High Counselor Zixitari Ven's face. The alien's translucent skin rippled with what she had learned was their species' equivalent of barely contained amusement. 3 months into humanity's introduction to the Galactic Council, and she was getting real tired of being treated like a child who had wandered into an adult's dinner party. "My dear Ambassador Chen," Ven's translator warbled in that insufferably smooth tone, "surely you understand that immediate access to the quantum communications network would be overwhelming for your species. We must think of your well-being." Chen maintained her practiced diplomatic smile, though her fingers twitched ever so slightly against the polished obsidian table. The council chamber, with its soaring crystalline arches and floating holographic displays, was designed to inspire awe in developing species like humanity. The fact that Earth had independently developed faster-than-light travel seemed to mean nothing to these pompous bags of mostly water. "High Counselor, with all due respect," Chen replied, letting just a hint of steel enter her voice. "Humanity has managed to survive and thrive despite countless challenges. I believe we can handle a few video calls." A ripple of what passed for laughter echoed through the chamber as the other council members exchanged knowing looks. The Drachnid representative's tentacles curled in what Chen had come to recognize as smug satisfaction. "Oh, you delightful humans," Ven continued. "Always so eager, so ambitious. But the Council has protocols for a reason. We've guided countless species through their early days of galactic integration. Trust in our experience." What the Council didn't know, and what brought a genuine smile to Chen's face, was that humanity had been running circles around their secure systems since day one. The quantum entanglement detector hidden in her ceremonial bracelet was currently streaming everything to Earth's Shadow Intelligence Division. Every patronizing comment, every dismissive gesture, and most importantly, every encrypted side-channel communication between council members, like the one happening right now. Through her augmented reality contact lenses, Chen watched the decoded message float across her vision. "Zixitari Ven, the humans continue to be amusingly persistent. Has the economic infiltration package been deployed?" Drachnid Overseer, Phase 1 complete. Their markets will begin experiencing natural instabilities within the month. Flotian Prime, excellent. The longer we can delay their full integration, the more resources we can extract before they realize their potential. Chen kept her expression neutral as she watched the council members congratulate themselves on their cleverness. The bracelet on her wrist felt warm against her skin, not from the quantum detector, but from the growing anger she was barely containing. "We appreciate the Council's thorough consideration of our petition," Chen said, standing smoothly. "Earth looks forward to continuing our relationship under your wise guidance." The patronizing smiles grew wider. The Flotian Prime's gas sac even expanded with satisfaction. As Chen left the chamber, she transmitted a single encoded burst to Earth Command. "Operation Reasonable Doubt is a go. They took the bait. Deploying surveillance packages now." The Council had no idea that their primitive human guest had just seeded their entire chamber with quantum-linked nanoprobes. They were too busy congratulating themselves on how skillfully they were managing these adorable newcomers. Walking to her ship, Chen allowed herself a small, dangerous smile. Let them think they were the masters of manipulation. Let them believe their technology was superior. Let them keep underestimating humanity. After all, the best con was one where the mark never realized they were being played until it was far too late. And humanity had learned long ago that sometimes the best way to win a rigged game was to let your opponent think they were the ones doing the rigging. Her ship's AI greeted her as she boarded. "Welcome back, Ambassador. Shall I prepare the official report for the Council's monitors?" "Yes," Chen replied, finally allowing herself to smirk properly. "Make it extra humble. Really lay on the gratitude and awe. Meanwhile, send the real data to command. It's time to show these pompous aliens what happens when they try to play chess with a species that invented poker." The game was set, the pieces were in motion, and the Galactic Council was about to learn that humanity's patience wasn't endless. It was tactical. Another day, another attempt to swindle Earth. Chen sat through her fourth trade negotiation of the week, this time with the Meridian Consortium, watching their representatives' bioluminescent patterns flash with barely concealed greed. And in exchange for exclusive mining rights to your asteroid belt, Ambassador Luxcar pulsed, their light patterns creating a hypnotic display. We offer you our basic terraforming technology. Think of the possibilities. You could make Mars habitable within mere centuries. Chen pretended to check her notes while mentally calculating how many ways this deal would screw Earth over. The Meridians had tried this same trick with 3 other developing species. Those civilizations were now basically corporate vassals, their resources stripped bare for a handful of outdated technologies. Fascinating proposal, Chen replied, tapping her datapad. Though I'm curious about the fine print regarding mineral rights on page 394, section 7, subsection Q. Luxcar's bioluminescence flickered in surprise. They hadn't expected her to read that deep into the document, let alone find the clause that would have given them ownership of any planets accidentally created during the asteroid mining process. Ah, well, that's merely standard legal language. Like the clause about retaining salvage rights to any human ships that break down in Meridian-controlled space. Chen smiled pleasantly. Including the right to auction off the crew's labor contracts to pay for repairs. The aliens' lights dimmed in what humans had learned was their version of a scowl. Before they could respond, Chen's datapad chimed with another meeting request. This time from the Voltari Trade Federation. My sincerest apologies, Chen stood, smoothing her jacket. But I have another appointment. Perhaps we can revisit this discussion once your legal team has had time to remove the more aggressive clauses. In the hallway, her AI assistant updated her through her neural link. The Voltari are planning to offer medical technology in exchange for rights to Earth's oceans. Their previous draft included ownership of all marine life and any human settlements within 100 kilometers of coastlines. Chen snorted. Let me guess, they'll claim it's for our own protection. Indeed. They've prepared a 2-hour presentation on the dangers of human maritime activities. How thoughtful of them. Chen's smile held more teeth than warmth. Send them the updated draft of our counter-proposal. The one with the clause about shared technology patents. The AI's voice held a note of amusement. The one that technically requires them to disclose all their medical research, not just what they're offering us. That's the one. Buried under enough legalese to make their heads spin. As Chen entered the next meeting room, she received confirmation that Earth's hidden quantum probes had intercepted 14 different species' attempts to hack Earth's financial systems. 3 plots to introduce addictive luxury goods into human markets, and one particularly amusing plan to convince humanity that faster-than-light travel caused sterility in less evolved species. The Voltari representative greeted her with a gesture that translated roughly to, "I am here to help you, poor primitive creature." Chen returned it with Earth's newest diplomatic signal, a slight nod that actually meant, "We see you, we know what you're doing, and we're counting every single offense." The dance continued, each species thinking they were leading, none realizing that humanity had long since changed the music. Every patronizing offer was met with careful documentation. Every attempted manipulation was logged, tracked, and added to the growing list of grievances that would eventually come due. "Now then," Chen said, sitting down across from the Voltari delegation, "let's discuss your generous offer to save us from ourselves." Her hidden quantum transmitter hummed quietly, recording every word, every gesture, every secret communication. Earth's patience wasn't infinite, but its memory was turning out to be exceptional. The emergency session of Earth's Unified Council erupted into controlled chaos as Director Zhang slammed the holographic evidence onto the central display. Representatives from every major nation leaned forward, faces illuminated by the damning data streams floating in the air before them. The Zixatari didn't just manipulate our markets, Zhang's voice cut through the murmurs. They engineered the entire Pan-Pacific economic crisis. Every single trade deficit, every failed merger, every suspicious market crash, all orchestrated through quantum-encrypted shell corporations. Chen stood at the podium, watching her colleagues process the magnitude of the deception. The council chamber, hidden 2 kilometers beneath Geneva, hummed with suppressed rage. "But wait," she said, her finger swiping through the holographic data. "It gets better. Remember the border dispute between Malaysia and Indonesia last month? The one that almost went hot?" She pulled up another set of intercepted communications. "Courtesy of the Drachnid Oversight Committee. They've been playing both sides, selling weapons through intermediaries while their peacekeeping missions gathered intelligence." President Rodriguez of the Americas Collective barked out a harsh laugh. "So much for their policy of non-interference in developing civilizations." "Oh, that's not even the best part," Chen continued, her smile sharp enough to cut diamond. "The Meridians have been seeding our upper atmosphere with nanoscale processors. Official reason? Monitoring solar radiation for our protection. Actual reason? They've been artificially manipulating our weather patterns to create agricultural instabilities." The African Union's Chancellor slammed his fist on the table. "Those crop failures in the Sahel region, the ones we thought were due to climate variation, engineered to make us more dependent on their food aid programs," Chen confirmed, "which coincidentally would have given them controlling interest in 60% of Earth's arable land through their predatory assistance contracts." The room temperature seemed to drop several degrees as the implications sank in. Humanity had suspected manipulation, had planned for it even. But the scale, the sheer audacity of it all. "The Floatians tried to start a civil war in India last week," Director Zhang added, almost conversationally. "Would have succeeded too if we hadn't caught their quantum transmissions to both separatist and government forces. They were planning to swoop in as neutral mediators and claim emergency administrative rights over the subcontinent's industrial sectors." Chen pulled up one final display, a real-time map showing every alien surveillance device currently active on and around Earth. The planet was surrounded by a cloud of red dots so dense it looked like a bloody haze. "Ladies and gentlemen," she said quietly, "we've been more than patient. We've played the humble newcomers. We've smiled through their condescension. We've pretended not to notice their increasingly blatant attempts to divide and conquer us. But as of 0300 hours today, we confirmed they're planning something big." The new data made even the usually stoic Chinese Premier blanch. "They're planning to engineer a nuclear exchange." "Between India and Pakistan," Chen nodded, "the Zixitari provide the weapons through back channels. The Drachnids ensure early warning systems mysteriously fail, and the Meridians stand ready to quarantine the affected regions, coincidentally gaining control of the world's largest emerging market in the process." Silence fell over the chamber. The kind of silence that comes before earthquakes, before tsunamis, before the world changes irrevocably. "We have everything?" the EU president asked, her voice carefully controlled. "Every transmission, every plot, every violation of their own laws and treaties. Logged, verified and backed up across quantum-encrypted servers they don't even know we have," Chen confirmed. "We've got enough evidence to make the Nuremberg trials look like a parking ticket dispute." The UN Secretary-General stood slowly, looking around the room. "I believe it's time for a vote. The motion on the floor, authorization for implementation of Protocol Omega Black, the activation of all dormant countermeasures and the commencement of Operation Consequence." One by one, the leaders of Earth's nations and coalitions raised their hands. There was no debate, no abstentions. For the first time in human history, the vote was unanimous. "Very well," the Secretary-General's voice was steel-wrapped in silk. "Ambassador Chen, you have your authorization. Activate the contingencies, all of them." Chen's smile would have made a shark back away slowly. "Command acknowledges. Transmitting activation codes now." She paused, allowing herself one small moment of satisfaction. "You know what the best part is? They're so convinced of our inferiority, They haven't even noticed that half their secure systems are already under our control. As she left the chamber, Chen received one last update from her AI. The Galactic Council had just scheduled an emergency session to finalize their plans for managing the human situation. Perfect timing, she murmured. Let's show them exactly what happens when you push humanity past its breaking point. The game was over. Now it was time for consequences. Deep beneath the Antarctic ice sheet, Commander Raj Patel watched his quantum strike teams run through their final drills. The facility, officially listed as a climate research station, stretched for kilometers through the frozen continent. Around him, humanity's response to alien manipulation took physical form. Team Epsilon, your breach time was 0.3 seconds too slow, he spoke into the comm. Reset and run it again. Remember, their quantum shields operate on a tripartite frequency. You have to hit all 3 nodes simultaneously, or the whole system crashes. Through the observation window, soldiers in powered armor flickered in and out of existence, their quantum displacement drives letting them phase through solid matter as if it were mist. The technology had been reversed engineered from a supposedly secure Zixitari military database they'd accidentally let humans access. Sir, his exo-Lieutenant Hong appeared at his side. Beta Division reports the stealth fleet is ready, all ships showing dark on standard and quantum scanning frequencies. Patel nodded. The fleet, hidden in the Kuiper Belt, represented humanity's greatest technological achievement, and their best-kept secret. Ships that could not only evade detection, but actively bend probability to ensure they wouldn't be noticed. The aliens thought Earth had maybe a dozen crude interstellar vessels. They were off by several orders of magnitude. And the Q-bombs? Armed and masked as standard fusion devices, the Drachnids won't realize they're carrying quantum entanglement disruptors until they try to activate their precious hive mind defense network. In another chamber, scientists fine-tuned the most devastating weapon in humanity's new arsenal. Not a device of destruction, but one of revelation. A quantum broadcaster that could pierce every encryption, override every network, and expose every secret communication to the entire galaxy simultaneously. Dr. Chen's latest report confirms the Council still hasn't detected our quantum taps in their central database, Hong continued. They're too busy congratulating themselves on how well they're managing us. Patel allowed himself a grim smile. Reminds me of that old video game, what was it called? The one where the AI thought it was testing the human, but the human was actually testing it. Portal, sir. And yes, the irony is not lost on me. A holographic display showed the status of Earth's other preparations. Quantum processors hidden in the heart of every major alien installation. Sleeper viruses buried so deep in their networks that they had become part of the base code. Backdoors in systems the aliens thought were completely isolated from any outside contact. Team Gamma, showing green on the infiltration test, an operator called out. Successfully planted quantum markers in all target locations. Aliens still think it's normal background radiation. The markers would allow Earth's forces to teleport directly into supposedly secure facilities. The aliens had developed countermeasures against normal teleportation, but they hadn't considered someone might weaponize quantum entanglement itself. All response teams, hold for final verification, Patel commanded. He turned to Hong. Show me the activation matrix. The air filled with a complex web of light, each point representing a human asset or weapon system ready to deploy. Thousands of nodes, all interconnected, all waiting for a single signal. Sir, Hong hesitated, is it true what they're planning? A nuclear false flag? That and worse. Patel's voice was cold. They think causing a regional nuclear exchange will let them swoop in as saviors, take control of Earth for our own good. They have no idea we've known about their plans from day one. Through another window, he watched as medical teams practiced with captured alien technology, preparing to deal with any biological or chemical weapons their benefactors might deploy in the chaos they planned to create. Status report on Phase 3 training? All Special Operations units have completed quantum combat certification. They can match and exceed any known alien combat capability. The powered armor units have been fully integrated with our quantum systems. We can deploy anywhere in the galaxy within minutes of receiving the go signal. Patel watched as Team Epsilon finally nailed their breach time, their coordinated quantum strikes taking down the test barrier in perfect synchronization. Years of preparation, of learning, of advancing while pretending to be primitive. It was all about to pay off. Command confirms Operation Consequence is now active, Hong reported. We're just waiting for the Council to make their move. Good, Patel said, watching his troops phase back into normal space. Let's show them what happens when they mistake patience for weakness. High Councillor Zixitari Ven was having a very bad day. Actually, it had been a very bad week, but they were trying not to think about that. What do you mean, lost contact? They demanded, multiple skin layers flickering in agitation. How does an entire surveillance network just vanish? The Drachnid technician's tentacles twisted nervously. Unknown, Councillor. The quantum relays in Earth's southern hemisphere were there one moment, gone the next. No warning, no malfunction signals. They just stopped existing. Impossible. Those systems are hardened against any primitive interference. The humans shouldn't even be able to detect them, let alone. A priority alert flashed across their neural feed. Another network, this one monitoring Earth's orbital traffic, had just gone dark. The loss pattern made no sense. It was as if the devices had never been there at all. In the Council's private chamber, the Flotian Prime's gas sac contracted with worry. We've lost contact with 60% of our ground assets in the last 3 days. The humans aren't even reacting. They're just going about their business, smiling those weird mouth smiles at our diplomats. The backup systems, Ven asked, also gone, along with the backups for the backups. Even the quantum encrypted emergency channels are just empty. The Meridian representative's bioluminescence pulsed with alarm patterns. Our deep space monitoring array caught something strange yesterday, a brief energy spike in the Kuiper belt, but when we sent probes to investigate, let me guess, Ven's skin rippled darkly, the probes vanished. No, that's the strange part. They returned, with all data intact, showing absolutely nothing unusual. It's perfectly normal, too normal. The council chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. The Drachnid overseer's neural tendrils twitched. Has anyone else noticed that Ambassador Chen seems amused lately? Humans always look amused, the Flotian Prime dismissed. It's those strange face muscles they have, probably a genetic defect. Yet doubt had crept into their voices. Little things started adding up. The way human diplomats would pause just a fraction too long before accepting explanations. How their ship's primitive sensors sometimes glitched in ways that shouldn't be possible. The strange feeling that they were missing something obvious. The nuclear exchange plan, Ven said suddenly. What's the status? The Meridian's lights dimmed. We can't find our agents, any of them. The weapons we planted, the command protocols, the sleeper cells, all gone, as if they never existed. But our records show everything was in place just days ago. A junior aide burst into the chamber, breaking all protocol. Councillors, our quantum mainframe just reported an anomaly. It's been running a deep system scan for the past month without authorization. Shut it down, Ven ordered. We tried. It's not accepting commands. It just keeps displaying the same message in every Earth language. Thank you for your cooperation. The council members looked at each other, a very undiplomatic panic beginning to set in. The Flotian Prime's gas sac deflated entirely. Perhaps, the Drachnid overseer suggested carefully, we should reconsider our approach to human integration. Agreed. Ven's skin had gone almost transparent with stress. I'll draft a new proposal immediately, one with more favorable terms for Earth. Too late, a voice said from the doorway. Ambassador Chen stood there, still wearing that infuriating smile. But it was fun watching you all finally notice. Really, for an advanced galactic civilization, you're remarkably unobservant. The council chamber's quantum-locked doors sealed themselves with a final-sounding hiss. "Now then," Chen continued pleasantly, "let's talk about consequences." The Galactic Council's emergency session was interrupted by every screen, hologram, and neural feed simultaneously activating. Thousands of channels all showing the same thing. Proof of their manipulation of Earth, playing in perfect clarity for every species in the galaxy to see. "We apologize for the interruption," Ambassador Chen's voice echoed through every quantum communication system in known space. "But we thought it was time for some transparency." High Councillor Ven's skin had gone so transparent you could see their organs pulsing in panic. "How are you doing this? Our systems are quantum-locked, triple encrypted." "Oh, those encryptions you got from the Drachnids?" Chen smiled. "We rewrote them 6 months ago. You've actually been using our security protocols. Didn't you wonder why they were suddenly working 40% more efficiently?" Above Earth, the hidden alien observation platforms suddenly found themselves visible to everyone, right before they blinked out of existence, reappearing in perfect formation around Earth's moon. In the council chamber, the Flotian Prime's gas sac nearly imploded as reports flooded in. "Impossible," the Meridian representative flickered frantically. "Your species doesn't have mass teleportation technology. We've been carefully monitoring—" "No," Chen corrected pleasantly. "You've been monitoring what we wanted you to monitor. Those primitive fusion drives on our ships, quantum displacement projectors, those basic shield systems, probability manipulation fields. We figured out pretty quick that the best way to develop our technology was to let you think you were successfully holding us back." The chamber's quantum-sealed doors dissolved, revealing squadrons of humans in powered armor that made the Council's best military tech look like children's toys. Commander Patel stepped forward, his armor shifting like liquid metal. "Fun fact," he announced to the stunned aliens. "You know those atmospheric processors you planted in our stratosphere? We reprogrammed them months ago. They've been broadcasting everything you do to a quantum storage array in the Kuiper Belt. Speaking of which..." The supposedly empty space around Earth lit up as humanity's stealth fleet dropped their probability shields. Thousands of ships, each more advanced than anything the Council had, took up strategic positions around every major alien installation in the solar system. "Did you really think," Chen asked softly, "that a species paranoid enough to split the atom just to win a war wouldn't have contingency plans? That we wouldn't notice your attempts to manipulate us? We've been space-capable for less than a century, and you thought we'd just blindly trust strange aliens who showed up offering suspicious deals?" The Council watched in horror as their secret communications played on every screen. Their plans for the engineered nuclear exchange, their economic warfare, their attempts to destabilize Earth's nations, all exposed to their own citizens and the galaxy at large. What are you going to do?" Ven's voice quavered. "Nothing nearly as bad as what you planned for us," Chen assured them. "We're not monsters. We're just really, really tired of being treated like children." She paused. "Also, we've locked out all your military systems, frozen your quantum networks, and released enough evidence of corruption to keep your ethics committees busy for the next century." Commander Patel's armor reconfigured, sprouting what looked suspiciously like a quantum cannon. Right now, human quantum strike teams are deploying throughout Council space, not to attack, just to demonstrate that we can reach anywhere, anytime. Consider it a friendly reminder for future diplomatic relations. "This is impossible," the Drachnid overseer whispered. "You're a primitive species. We've been guiding civilizations for millennia." "And that," Chen said, "was your biggest mistake. You got complacent. You assumed every species would develop the way you expected. But humans? We specialize in the impossible. We look at something that can't be done and we take it as a personal challenge." The chamber's quantum field fluctuated, and suddenly every council member found themselves holding detailed reports of exactly how thoroughly humanity had compromised their civilizations. "We could have done this months ago," Chen admitted, "but we wanted to give you a chance to change course naturally, to recognize us as equals, to stop treating us like lab specimens to be managed and manipulated. You chose poorly. "What are your demands?" Ven asked, their skin almost transparent with fear. Chen's smile was pure predator. "Oh, nothing too dramatic. Just a complete renegotiation of every treaty, full disclosure of all technologies you've been hoarding, and maybe—" She paused for effect. "An official apology for being such patronizing jerks." The council chamber was silent, except for the soft hum of quantum fields and the distinct sound of several alien species realizing they had severely, catastrophically underestimated humanity's capacity for both patience and payback. "Welcome to the real galaxy," Chen said cheerfully. "Now, shall we discuss those new treaties? I believe we have some thoughts on fair trade practices." 3 months after what galactic historians would later call the Human Revelation, Ambassador Chen sat in her new office in the reformed Galactic Council headquarters. The view of Earth through the quantum-reinforced windows never got old. "Progress report," she said to the holographic displays, showing representatives from various alien species. None of them dared to show even a hint of their former condescension. "The technology sharing initiative is proceeding ahead of schedule," the Meridian delegates' lights pulsed respectfully. "Our scientists are still trying to understand how humans manage to weaponize quantum entanglement itself. Decades of being underestimated gives you time to think outside the box," Chen replied cheerfully. "Speaking of which, how's the economic reintegration going?" The Floatian Prime's gas sac contracted nervously. "All exploitative contracts have been nullified. The affected species are being compensated as per Earth's terms. We're still finding hidden accounts, but your quantum auditors are terrifyingly efficient." "Amazing what happens when you actually help developing civilizations instead of trying to turn them into corporate vassals, isn't it?" Chen checked another report. "And the military restructuring?" Commander Patel's hologram appeared. "The Joint Defense Force is operational. Turns out most species are eager to cooperate when they realize the alternative is having their quantum systems randomly start playing human cat videos. That had been one of humanity's more creative demonstrations, every military display in Council space simultaneously showing 3 hours of Earth's finest feline entertainment. The message was clear. If humans could do that, they could do much worse. "The most fascinating development," the Drachnid overseer added, neural tendrils twitching, "is how many species are requesting human advisors. They've seen how quickly Earth advanced under pressure and want to learn our methods." Chen laughed. "Share the basics, but remember what we learned. Sometimes the best path to advancement is letting people figure things out themselves, with actual help when needed, not manipulation." The new Galactic Charter, drafted largely by human legal teams, was displayed prominently in the chamber. Its first article, "All sapient species have the right to develop without interference, manipulation, or economic exploitation." The second, "Attempts to engineer conflicts or crises will result in immediate consequences." "There's still some resistance," Patel reported. "A few old guard species talking about human aggression and overreach." "Send them the files about their own planned aggression and overreach," Chen suggested. "The quantum broadcasts are always ready for another galaxy-wide data dump." The threat of exposure had proven more effective than any weapon. It turned out most species preferred not to have their dirty laundry aired across quantum channels. High Counselor Ven, newly elected after the previous council's mass resignation, shifted uncomfortably. "The galaxy is still adjusting to the new paradigm. Some find it difficult to accept that humans advance so far while appearing to barely progress." "That's the thing about humans," Chen replied, standing to admire the Earthrise. "We're really good at learning from others' mistakes, like the mistake of assuming that just because someone smiles and nods, they're not taking notes and making plans." The various representatives quickly agreed, as they tended to do these days when any human made a point. The galaxy was learning that while humanity's patience had limits, their capacity for both innovation and consequence was apparently boundless. "One last item," Chen said. "The quantum integration networks are ready. From now on, no species develops in isolation, but also none gets to play puppet master. We help each other advance, or we face the consequences. Clear?" The unanimous agreement was music to her ears. As the holograms winked out, Chen allowed herself a moment of satisfaction. It had taken years of playing the long game, of smiling through insults, of turning manipulation into opportunity. But finally, humanity had taught the galaxy its most important lesson. Never mistake patience for weakness, especially from a species that had turned paranoia into an art form and spite into a science. The age of human consequence had begun.